The Tuesday Sims 4 base game update is also adding that promised ailment toggle. Hello, my name is Jennifer and welcome to my Sims 4 news video. So I'm going to cover that information. We knew there was going to be an update on Tuesday the 19th of August because that had been in the roadmap and they had said something that was coming, so I'll cover that and some other information that I had seen from responses from the Sims Direct about things we might expect. Of course, we didn't get a laundry list, so we're probably not going to get a lot of bug fixes, but you know, they could surprise us. And of course, this is also to prepare the game for those 2 new creator kits that are coming later this week on Thursday. I'm going to cover the expected time of when the game update is and when those kits are expected, as well as some suggestions on how to prepare for your game, for any game update. And in addition to this announcement, there is a blog post. I'm going to cover that with respect to the ailments toggle, and they did a Q&A over on the Sims Discord, and I got some screenshots of the questions that pertain specifically to the Q&A with respect to ailments. So first off, the Sims tweeted and shared in various places, get the 411 on the latest ailments update coming tomorrow. It was by Nardvillain, and I will link to both the tweet and also the video is on YouTube. So if you haven't seen it yet, I highly recommend you go check it out. They followed up with this. The new ailment update releases tomorrow, which by the time this comes out, it might be later today, but Tuesday. Read more about the recent update along with the frequently asked questions. So here is the blog post. So Susul, this is Nate, lead designer of the Enchanted by Nature expansion pack, and he's here to talk a little bit about ailments, how they develop them, and the game settings toggle we're adding to give more agency to choose how ailments manifest in your game. So the hope was that ailments were going to create interesting situations that ask you to change up how you play. The way they affect a Sim's life can look and feel different depending on how you meet it. It can be a bump in the road, a chance to flex the apothecary skill, or perhaps an unexpected benefit. For instance, greeny-meeny symptoms can strain relationships, but also provide a gardening skill boost. If you're a Sim who spends more time with plants than other Sims, it's actually quite helpful. So, living up to this aspiration of challenge and reward for each of the broad array of ailments was no small task, and I'm proud of the team's hard work. At the same time, they've heard our feedback loud and clear that ailments were happening too often. So they're going beyond the recent patch, which reduced the chance of contagious ailments spread across the game, to also add a new settings toggle which disables ailments spread completely. So find it by going to the main menu and selecting Game Options Pack Settings. Under the section for Enchanted by Nature, you'll see the settings toggle Enable Ailment Spread. When this is disabled, ailments can no longer jump from one Sim to another, and Sims have no chance of picking up ailments in their day-to-day life. Sims with current ailments will still have them, which you can wait out or cure through whichever method you prefer. You can change the toggle back and forth at any time, and so check out the frequently asked questions for more details, which is further down on the blog post. But first, we have what the game options are going to look like after the update. So that second one there with the Enable Ailment Spread, that's what's going to be new. The other things are already in the game. So if you want it to be disabled, you want it unchecked. And the same is true for the balance one down below. And essentially what they wrote in the blog post is similar to what is here in the notes under the game options. So they hope that adding this toggle setting will help us find new and more satisfying ways to incorporate Enchanted by Nature in your play and storytelling. So now, if you'll excuse me, my Sims have a date to press some flowers and take a nap in the forest. Dag dag. So now there are, as I said, frequently asked questions. So the first one is, what will I see with this new ailment spread toggle? The ailment spread toggle is enabled by default. If you do nothing, ailments will continue working the same way. So including the reduced chance of spreading added by the recent patch. So they shouldn't be happening as much as they had been before the last patch. And that is what I have noticed in my game. So what will happen in my save if I choose to disable ailment spread? So Sims won't get ailments from any contagious source. This means no chance of ailments from day-to-day activities like going to work or high school, or from foraging. It also means no chance of picking up an ailment from being around a Sim who has one. Ailments that are present in your save when you disable the toggle will still be there. Sims will still need to wait it out or seek a cure, but no new ailments will occur due to spread, which is what they had already said previously, but they're, just confirming that. They go on to say, if you disable the toggle, what happens to other features in this expansion pack that use ailments? So everything still works the same, just the ailments are no longer contagious. So here are some details. Fairy Sims cure or apply ailment ability is unchanged. You can still direct fairies to give ailments to other Sims. While controlling a Sim with an ailment, you can still try asking a friendly fairy to cure you. Of course, they need to have the ability and be friends to do it. For the natural path career, clients coming to your Sim's home will still have ailments that need treatment. You can still craft ailment cures at the apothecary table to sell, treat naturopath clients, etc. Sims who become very imbalanced will still develop an ailment, but it can't spread to anyone else. If you prefer not to play with ailments this way, you can disable the Enable, Balance, and Imbalance toggle on the same settings panel. So then the next question is, so if I disable both ailment spread and balance imbalance, will I see any ailments in my game? So the answer is the only ailments you'll see here are ailments that Sims already had at the moment you disable the toggle, as mentioned previously, ailments you direct your Sims to put on others via Fairy's Cure or Apply Ailment ability, or Plant Sims Poison Kiss interaction, ailments on Sims that visit when you opt for your naturopath to receive clients at home. So it won't affect your naturopath Sim receiving clients with ailments. They will still have them. So that's it for the frequently asked questions from the blog post. Now, there was a Q&A over on Discord earlier. So Nate introduced himself, and the first response was, I see questions about the new toggle in short. It's a game setting that will let you turn off the gameplay of ailments spreading to Sims, which of course we already knew from seeing the blog post. So if you disable ailment spread, the only ailments you'll see are the ones that show up when your naturopath treats clients, or ailments that your Sims give other Sims themselves. And of course, if there's imbalance, you'll get it from that. So then someone commented about some issue, Waffle, who is a modder, and I'm not going to go into the details, but essentially Nate directed Waffle over to the bug forums to do this. Next, we saw just a general, there was a lot of chat. It was just in the general Sims channel, so there was also some chat that had nothing to do with the Q&A during this time, which is why I just got some screenshots of the responses, and in some cases the questions. So seeing some questions about the design of ailments, some highlights from that. They looked for ways to make ailments meaningfully mix up play, which is where you see each ailment's having some positive aspect that fits its overall theme. At the same time, they didn't want them to derail what you're doing, so there's several ways to cure ailments, but most of the time you don't have to deal with it right away if you don't want to. And they didn't want them to be too realistic, partly to avoid recreating what the game already offers, but also to better fit the pack's fantastic themes. So that was those. Now I got some more. Next, someone had said that one of the Sims that came to their apothecary had 2 ailments layered on top of each other, and they weren't sure whether or not that was supposed to happen or if it was a mistake. And Nate's response was, thanks for spotting this. It isn't intended behavior, so if you're able to post on the official forums, that will help with any potential investigation. I'm not sure if I've seen a bug report about that. But anyways, if you do have that, go check the forums to see if that's there. But of course, bug reports need to be on a mod-free game. And someone commented that they have a friend who has a fear of vomiting. So like a lot of the ailments require, they vomit with it. So in this case, it was Mindy from The Sims responded and thanked for the feedback, and that they will pass along the information to the team to see what may be possible in the future. So next, Nate responded, seeing some questions about fairies and ailments. Fairies already don't autonomously give or cure ailments, so the toggle settings won't change their behavior either way. One note, a way to get an ailment cured is to ask an NPC fairy. They need to have the ability unlocked and say yes, depending on the relationship, which I had commented before. Likewise, the toggle setting won't change your fairy's ability to put ailments on other Sims if that's your jam. And then jokingly, I would never do such a thing. So, and then someone asked a fun question. If you were an ailment, what would you be? And his response was greeny meanie, but a chiller version, less mean. But still not great with plants. So then someone made sort of a general comment about a nomad learning apothecary and, foraging and making cures. And Nate's response there was, I like telling a version of this story with a natural living skill, which lets my sim live off the lot basically forever, and I use the apothecary table in the open street so I don't have to put one down on my sim's lot, because in the world, at least the 2 neighborhoods, there are apothecary tables so that you can get them from just work on them in the neighborhood, as he's saying here. Moving along to some of the questions. There's one where I couldn't read the message. So the response was, they assume you're talking about personality traits, which are more related to balance, but then between new aspirations, the naturopath career, and the apothecary skill, fairies, etc., there are lots of ways to interact with both of those features. Some quick examples are fairies, as magical beings connected with nature, have a lot of power over ailments. Sims who reach max rank of the naturopath career will develop natural immunity to ailments. The apothecary skill at level 2 unlocks all the recipes needed to cure any ailment, so you don't need to be very high in the skill to be able to make the cures. And fairy aspirations let you follow stories geared more towards a good or wicked fairy, and the reward traits for contemplating those aspirations give bonus balance for using fairy abilities aligned with those stories. So someone asked, would there be any chance you could consider adding evil fairy exclusive ailments such as incurable ones or death ones? And the response was, I can't speak to any plans, but I love hearing this. I hope you're enjoying the fairy experience as much as I do. Someone asked about werewolves. The question regarding werewolves and ailments. As a werewolf gets more rage, I've been finding it throws the balance out of whack for them. Any recommendations on gameplay, etc.? So the response there was, werewolves can present that extra challenge. I found it helpful to focus werewolf power development on rage management than developing apothecary skill, either with your werewolf or someone else close to them, to have ailment cures ready to go. And then there were quite a few people asking about cross-pack and, ailments and get-to-work illnesses. And then here was one about the home remedy from business and hobbies. It doesn't cure ailments, and would you consider adding this as a feature? So here Mindy stepped in and said cross-pack compatibility is a larger topic that's a bit beyond this quick ailments Q&A with Nate, but definitely hear that it's an area you would love to hear more about and care about when we release new EPs. So they'll continue to relay that to the studio teammates. So this was just one of the examples. There were a few, like I said, mostly to do with get to work ailments or illnesses, I should say, and then also this particular one. And then Nate essentially signed off here. I've seen a lot of great questions about what inspired ailments beyond the more game designy parts of it. We took a lot of inspiration from seeing how we could take the concept of sickness, wellness, which can be really sad and uncomfortable, and bring it out from under that shadow and into the Sims universe. The point wasn't take something bad and make it good, but rather take something real and make it work for the Sims. So that's why you'll see some ailments that are more reminiscent of real sicknesses than others, but they're all whimsical. We want to make room for fun stories about something that is usually not that. So, and that was the last part. I've hit my time, but thank you so much for joining the session. I wish I had more time with y'all. That was the final response from Nate. So those were the things that I sort of went through and got the highlights. So you don't have to go look. But here's the roadmap, and we're at the end of the roadmap. And the last thing there was on August 19th, we were told we were getting a free base game update. So we already knew it was coming, but of course we didn't know, and they probably wouldn't have known about the ailments toggle. But what was in the roadmap was new skin customization options will be available in another base game update on August 19th. So that was what was originally planned for the update. So that's something that we should be getting tomorrow in addition to this new toggle. And again, it's preparing us for these 2 new kits. We have Peacemaker Grange Mudroom, which is a build buy kit. And then we have Cryptic Sim Essential Glam, which is like a makeup kit. So 2 creator kits coming out on the 21st. So the game is being prepared for that with the update tomorrow. And also, the Nature's Calling event was extended till September 2nd, and that was to ensure the console players in particular who were having some problems, but they mentioned at that point that they aim to release an update soon to address some of the connectivity issues on console. So that there should help console players, so that those who haven't been able to finish the event because they got the message that they weren't connected to the internet even though they were, which then meant they couldn't claim the rewards, which was required to finish the event. That should be coming in the update tomorrow. There was also another response when that came out on the 1st, where the Sims Direct said that they're continuing to investigate console issues and will be releasing some console fixes in our next update. And this is the next update, so hopefully there are some additional console fixes. But as I had already said, we haven't received a laundry list, so all we know is sort of piecemeal these things that we're kind of expecting in this update. I don't know, of course, whether we're getting any other fixes in the update or anything else in general. So here are some basic steps to prepare for computer players. Before you update, I recommend you make a backup of your saves, but PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5 players can do that too. If you use mods, you should move your mods folder to your desktop. And also, if you use mods, check your saves folder for any mod settings files. Some mods put their settings files in your saves folder as opposed to in your mods folder. And when you move your mods folder out, you need those settings out also because they can continue to cause problems. After you update, you should repair your game in the EA app, and on Steam, this is verified game files. And then I recommend you delete your local thumb cache file. And if you are, of course, a mod and custom content user, make sure they're cleared or updated before adding them back in. Now, I don't know if this is going to be a really big update because I don't know what the skin customization is doing. The last update wasn't a big update, and, well, usually mods and custom content are automatically disabled with most updates. Sometimes for some lesser updates, they aren't. I'm going to guess that since this was on the roadmap, it's going to be a bigger update. I'm not saying it's a massive update, but, just kind of speculating there. So I would guess that they're going to be disabled, but we'll know soon enough. And if you want more details about the whys and hows to do some of these things, I have a tutorial video where I actually show it in more detail. And if you play in the EA app and you want to temporarily avoid the update, you can turn off automatic updates before the update goes live and go offline with the EA app. And I have a tutorial video for that as well. So the update is expected at 10 a.m. Pacific. That is the usual time for game updates, which is why I'm expecting at that time. That's 1 p.m. Eastern. I will have a link to this time zone converter down below so that you can find out when that is in your own time. And since we know the creator kits are coming out on the 21st, the usual release time for that is also 10 a.m. Pacific, again 1 p.m., but that would be on Thursday, August 21st. I will link to this one also so you can find out for both of them when they are in your own time zone. So there they are up on the screen. So I'm curious what you think about the toggle being added and the various things, the creator kits and all of that. I'd love to know in a comment down below. But that's going to be it for this video. Thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!